ولد عام 37 قضى أغلب عمره العلمي في تدريس الفلسفة في جامعة بيرغن ومعهد الفلسفة ومركز النظريات العلمية. حاضر في أغلب جامعات أوروبا ولا زال نشطا في الحياة العلمية والثقافية في النرويج. وسيصدر كتابه تاريخ الفلسفة من 80 صفحة في لبنان، وهو الكتاب الذي ترجم لأكثر من 20 لغة. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Goran Scheerbeek.
First of all, my deep gratitude for being invited to this Norwegian-Lebanese arrangement here in Beirut. And I've been given a question, Islamic future in Europe. And hence there are two underlying questions. What is Europe and what is Islam? And as we know, Europe is not one, geographically, north, south, east, west. Historically, many historical stages. Socially, different class structures. Culture, different languages and different religions. So the term has to be defined. And likewise with Islam, as any religion or social cultural phenomenon, it is also diverse and has to be defined. And that's what I'll do to start with. I proceed first by saying what I mean by Europe in this connection, then what I mean with Islam, and then at the end on Islam and Europe and the possibility on what it means to say something about Islamic future in Europe. First of all, my approach here this afternoon to Europe is mainly what we have today in or around the European Union. And I've chosen two characteristics. There are elements, but I've chosen two characteristics. And the first one is enlightenment. The second one, war experiences. Start with the first one. Enlightenment and thereby the relationship to modernization processes and thereby various institutions that have been differentiated in our societies and also in Europe. Starting with state, market, civil society, but also differentiations between law and religion, private and public, and the relative independence of learning institutions like universities. And this differentiation on the in terms of institutions went together with differentiations in terms of, should we say, value spheres. For instance, truth, what is as related to science, related to the institutional science, and what ought to be in morality and law. And also this again in relation to religion, these differentiations. I'll come back to it in a moment about the differentiation related to the sciences. Then, those are, for those who are within these discussions, those are from the Weber kind of perspective of modernization. But do not forget Karl Marx in these days of globalization and neoliberalism. There have always been class conflicts and other conflicts, and how to cope with them. And at least at the end, there also comes back to war experiences. But I mean, some kind, European Union, constitutional democracy, but not only that, common education to everybody, and also gradually some welfare system so people have the possibilities of taking part in public life. And finally, an open sphere for discussions, also of critical and difficult questions. So those I take to be some of the hard lines of modernization in terms of enlightenment. But now I go back to the sciences and the more intellectual modernization, if you like. And if you go back to the early time of what we used to call the modern age, like the Renaissance and so on, from the, let's say, 15th, 16th century onward, then, as we all know, we got the new natural sciences. Experimental, mathematically informed, as in classical mechanics. And that kind of control on nature which is gained because it could predict what would happen and thereby get something to not happen because you could intervene, that kind of explanation which the new sciences gave became crucial for science-related technologies. And thereby, I mean, whatever we mean about modern societies today, look around, science-based technology is there. For good and bad, nuclear power, etc. For good and bad.